5-6 months, if you can squeeze together like $100 a month or something, start to figure out how much it's going to cost.
This is March 19th of 2020. It's Thursday evening. This is a live Thursday night Frank R. Wallace call with Charlie Moore. It's about 23 minutes after the hour. They did a bunch of nonsense at the beginning. Now we get to the real meat. At least I hope we are. Anyways, here we go. And enjoy the call tonight. This is Big V. Just want to say, hopefully, you're all staying safe out there.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
And here we go with the Thursday night call.
All right, so let's get the show on the road here. We got something that's a little. We're still in design. We're still talking Neotech, the 2-key book. And this one gets a little heavy duty. So, because it is Frank Wallace, so he always makes it a little more difficult to understand some things. But this is chapter 34. It's page 303. I think it's the same. I have an older book that I have it out of, but I think it's the same page numbers. I think, isn't it?
Yes, Charlie.
It's book 4, right?
I have it. Right, book 4 of the Prime Discovery, and it's on page 303. It's chapter 34.
Yeah, Design Awakening. Now, I would think like how I read this for the first time. I read this and say, "What the hell is he talking about?" I really had no idea. But anyway, we're going to try and break it down here in about 40 minutes of time here. But I'm just going to read that first paragraph. It says, "Nothing links the non-living to the living, the plant to the animal, or the animal mind to the human mind. Similarly, nothing links the slumberous consciousness of the anti-civilization to the dynamic consciousness of the civilization of the universe. Likewise, nothing links the endless
deprivation.
Deprivation. I knew the word. I just had a hard time getting that one out of my mouth. Thank you, Ronnie. And this anti-civilization to the limitless prosperity in the civilization of the universe. Now, what does all that mean? We just can't cross over, all right? And then he starts talking about, like in physics, nothing links one electron state to another, or one space-time system to another. In both life and physics, essences exist in either one state or another, with no flow, transition, or linkage between them." And then he starts talking about, consider the nature of Planck's go, no-go, black body radiation, Einstein's go, no-go, photoelectric effect, and civilization's go, no-go, limitless prosperity dynamics. Locked within the laws of physics, how could one ever enter the law-based civilization of the universe from the criminal-based anti-civilization? So what that all means, if you just try to break it out, because it's a lot of, as I said, when I read this for the first time, I had no clue. And I don't know exactly everything about this, but this is where you can learn a lot. This is where you can expand your mind. This is where you can do a little research. If you go into the internet, and you just put Planck's jump. That's Planck''S. He was a physicist back prior to Einstein. I went into a whole bunch of his research before, and so it's basically he has this theory that Einstein really used a lot, was in that atom. Like if you see an atom that's in a circle, then there's a center of the atom, then there's lines around it, and there's a dot there. And he thinks that basically if you squeeze that, you can actually jump out of one of those realms of that atom to another realm, which before nobody thought that you could. And that's basically what Frank R. Wallace is talking about here. We can make that jump into the sea of you and get out of this anti-civilization world. And he talks about that a lot more as we go through this. But that's cutting it down to the simplistic way of explaining it. But you got to understand how we get there. It's just not it's a jump. So we have to start, because he talks about this a little later on too. Our learning here. When we come here, all we do is just read the books. We don't really understand them. We don't know what they're talking about, but we're reading them. And as we continue to read, we're getting more like, wow, I don't know what this is all about. Maybe, I understand this a little bit here and that little bit there, but man, we don't have the knowledge yet. And we're stumbling. And we're learning at the speed of a snail, okay? But then as we start to understand more and more of this, the more calls you come to or whatever, the more reading that you do. And I tell you, people, if you never have gone back and read these books for a second time, you're missing. You're missing so much, it's unbelievable. But when you start to understand this a little bit, you start learning a little bit faster. And then you start to learn a little bit more. And then you start to learn a little bit more. And all of a sudden now, you're starting to get it. You don't know a lot about it, but man, it's just starting to make some sense. That's when we can learn the speed of light. Right now, it's hard to learn all of this information about the Sea of You, about Zons, about Neothink and Neotech in this anti-civilization world. It does slow us up. It slows up our mind because our mind is not used to thinking. It slows up our mind because the mind doesn't, it takes a while. The mind's like a muscle. If you haven't used it in 40, 50, 60 years, basically, it takes a while for the mind to start picking up speed here. But now, once the mind does that, that's what the mind's supposed to do originally. It did it when we were kids. We were in the Sea of You as a child. We had great imaginations. We used to think, and we asked a lot of questions, and we were thinking all the time because we had to learn just for survival, if nothing else. So all that comes into play here. Eventually, he says here, as in physics with the introduction of Planck's energy, the introduction of Zond power will allow every entry into the Sea of You. Eventually, everyone on Earth will leave criminal politics behind and click into the civilization of the universe without transition. All right, so we can do this, and obviously he said here by the end of the century. That would have been nice, but maybe by the end of this century. But then he talks about here on that next page, he says, why is linkage between the two civilizations impossible? And this is where we have to understand it. You can learn and say, well, yes, we can jump into the Sea of You, but if somebody asks you, how do we do that? This is why we must read every page. This is why we must outline it and understand it and sometimes break through that barrier. But he says, why is it impossible? He says that impossibility is not because of any culture or philosophical differences, which are profound and absolute, but rather the impossibility is because the law of physics make impossible any contact or linkage, both physically, both practically, and theologically. The reason for this impossibility lies in the fact that each civilization travels along separate space-time coordinates. One cannot travel or switch to a different space-time system any more than one can travel backward in time. For any such space-time travel or switch would require the conscious reconstruction of every quantum state of every matter and force coordinate in the universe at every instant in time. Thus, the arrow of time cannot be reversed or switched. Space constantly evolve and move forward. One is never able to travel to different space-time or light cone coordinates that have already come and gone, here or elsewhere. Nothing can revisit. Nothing can revisit, return to, or alter events occurring in any past or separate time frame. Okay? So basically he's saying that time travel is impossible. That's why we can't match up here. That's why we can't link between the two civilizations. All right? But, and then if you go A and B, study them. Okay? Just look at them and study them. You can understand this. I can remember the first time in the Powers call with me and Steve. This is going back about 7, 8, 9 years ago, whatever it was. And we started talking about physics in here. We were talking about the Neo-Think Bible, and that's when physics starts to come into it. And I remember this, and I don't remember a lot of the calls I've been on, because I've been on so many, but I remember saying, if you would have told me, even a year ago this time, that I would be on a call talking to a lot of people about physics, because it was a struggle for me to really kind of understand. It still is a struggle. I'm not a physicist, I don't know any of this stuff, but I can at least explain it somewhat. And that's where we have to get to. We don't have to be an Einstein here to understand this, but we just have to know the basics. Because when you understand the whys here and the hows, okay, that's integrated thinking. That's how we move forward. That's how we understand this. That's how we move forward. That's how we start making money. That's how we find our essence. All these things start happening because you know a lot more things than most people out there. They don't have this knowledge. And when you read this the first time, it's like, whoa, what the hell is this? I don't know about this. But he's talking about Planck again, and he says that throughout existence, as at least two distinct coordinate systems of energy exist. Number one, the limited close coordinate system that functions below Planck's energy level, doing little. And the limitless open coordinate system that functions above Planck's energy level, doing everything. Between the two systems, nothing except gravity units exist. No contact, no transition. Each system is a universe of its own. Below Planck's energy level, a boring universe of limited, close boundaries exist. Above the level, a lively universe of limitless, open evolution springs forth, generating all possible events and energies without limits or boundaries. Everything is either above or below Planck's energy level. Nothing is in between. Nothing connects or mediates the two independent systems or universe. That's what they're showing on those two graphs on the previous page. There's nothing, there's separation there. So he says the civilization of the universe is Zahn power. Once one integrates with Zahn power, he or she automatically makes that Planck-like jump with no transition. Abruptly, one is in the civilization of the universe. The anti-civilization is then left behind, impossible to contact, soon forgotten forever. So when this world does, obviously we have to make that jump first, but when the world does jump into the sea of you, we will forget about this anti-civilization probably in a matter of days and won't even think about it again. Because it's gone forever. And there was nothing good that came out of it. Because, look at what we're going through today. This is absolutely insanity out there. It's been insanity, but now it's taken to a whole new level. All right? This is absolutely ridiculous. I thought we were so far from the anti-civilization. This world is, so far from the sea of you. This world has never been further away from the sea of you in the last 3,000 years as it is now. This is disgusting. We wouldn't even think about these things in the civilization of the universe. We must make that jump. We have to make that jump to save humanity, let alone ourselves. How can we? I don't know what frustrates me more going through this, because none of us has ever, no human being has something like this. And you look at it, and I don't know what frustrates me more. The lack of honesty. Every day it's different. They're giving different information. Some people are saying that this shouldn't be that bad if we do this and this. Other people it's doom and gloom. Okay? Millions are going to die. Millions are going to die. You don't know what to believe. And then even if somebody is telling you the truth, we don't know if it is or not. Because that's the way it is with this media, that's the way it is with government. We never know what really is honest and what is not honest. And that to me is more awful than anything else. So I sit there for 5 minutes and watch it. I said, that's it. I had enough, because what the hell's the difference? I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know how this is going to turn out for us. And I try to follow it somewhat so I can at least have an opinion on it, but I don't know. So we have to make this jump. You know, civilizations are functions of conscious thinking, especially integrated thinking. The speed of integrated thinking depends on the depth and range of objective knowledge acquired. Okay? This is objective knowledge. It doesn't take sides. This is the knowledge that we have. That's what I like about neo-think and neo-tech. All the knowledge isn't picking left or right or whatever. This is the knowledge of the universe. This is the knowledge that we must have to move forward. This is the knowledge that we must have and learn and understand and live to become a Zion, to live forever. And you don't get that until you really start to think of this. He says, all such thinking is subject to time dilation as described by Einstein's special relativity. In the closed boundaries of the anti-civilization, integrated thinking is severely and absolutely limited. Jeez. Thus, both the power and speed of integrated thinking are limited to minimum ranges. The speed of integration, here it is, also increases with advancing knowledge. But the closed boundaries of the anti-civilization holds the speed of advancing knowledge far below that which Einstein's relativity has any observable effects. So as we're learning this, we're moving very, very slow in the beginning. That's why it takes a while for all of us to start really moving with this. And that's why a lot of people give up and leave. Well, I'm not learning everything. I can't figure out these secrets. I can't do this. I can't do that. And they make excuses like we all have been doing our whole lives. All right? But if you hang around long enough, you're going to get this. And then your speed of knowledge is unbelievable at that point. Then you are learning at the speed of light. He says, but by contrast, the civilization of the universe has no boundaries. There's two words I love. No boundaries. Thus, new knowledge is limitless, and the speed of integrations are bound only by the speed of light. All right, so far, we haven't figured out how to think faster than the speed of light. Therefore, both knowledge and speed of thinking increase geometrically, if not exponentially. With such a multiplying effect, the speed of integration will soon approach the velocity of light as described in Chapter 6. So go back to Chapter 6 and read that. At such speeds, time dilation becomes noticeable and then dominates. But what happens at the speed of integration for new knowledge keeps accelerating ever closer to the velocity of light. The resulting time dilation becomes so great that the flow of time essentially ceases relative to events and experience in technologically advanced cyberspace. So, to wrap this up a little bit, then I'll have Juanita step up, because she's got this too. I tell you, Juanita has been, she's been learning at the speed of light the last year. I tell you, she's like, wow, you know. But the rationally open seer view allows conscious beings to live in eternal prosperity and exciting happiness. By contrast, the criminally closed anti-civilization forces conscious beings to live in a boring and in this boring civilization and then die. These differences in time reflect the separate space-time coordinates that pass along which conscious beings travels to the closed anti-civilization versus the open sea of view. And then at the end here, and I like how he closes this up, he says, life in the civilization of the universe. Why do people who materially indulge themselves live in high desperation? cynicism and boredom? Why do they grow increasingly dissatisfied with themselves? Why does the greatest dissatisfaction and emptiness occur in those who seek ego indulgences and material gains most? No, I'm having a tough night here. By contrast, what makes the civilization of the universe inconceivably different, in which everyone has limitless prosperity and romantic excitement, void of anxiety, doubt, and boredom? So, in the anti-civilization, why care about what anyone thinks, says, or does? Okay, one of the biggest mythicisms that we have when we came into Neothink, and a lot of us probably still have, why do we care about what anyone thinks, says, or does? Except for competitive values and their heroic producers, what difference does anything or anyone make in this schizophrenic irrationality of the anti-civilization? Think about that for a second. What difference does any of this or anyone make in this schizophrenic irrationality of the anti-civilization? Beneath this anti-civilization, nothing except permanent value production makes any difference or sense. In the sea of you, however, everything that each individual does or experiences make the most profound difference to everyone eternally. I mean, the difference is, we always, I've always said that if you take the sea of you and compare it to the civilization of the universe, it's a 180-degree turn. In other words, it's completely opposite. And we have to understand that difference. All right? Whatever we do in this crazy AC world, think about it some days. Think about like how bad it was today to deal with the news and deal with this virus and deal with all these people dying. All right? And then take the opposite of that. And think about that world, that this never happens, that no countries are making these bio factories and then letting it leak out so that it can kill us all. What we would have, opposite of this is total peace, total freedom, total everything. We couldn't keep up with the inventions every day. We couldn't keep up with the knowledge every day. We couldn't. But imagine waking up every morning of your life and can't wait for the day to start. Looking forward to it. You can't wait to get out of bed because you're doing things that you never thought that you could do. Everyone is doing this. And that's life every day. How could you ever get bored? I mean, right now, some of us are getting bored because we're stuck in a house most of the time. And even if you go out, there's no place to go unless you're going food shopping, unless you're going to a doctor. And some of you I know are still working, but it's just, now we wake up and we're kind of like, oh, geez, another day of this world, and I wonder how many more people are going to die today from this virus, and it's scary. It's downright scary. But yet, that's the world that we live in. So we have to make this choice here. We can all make this jump. Every one of us on this call can make this jump. And we all need to do it for ourselves and basically for the world. This is a lost world. Like you say sometimes, look at that guy over there. He looks like he's lost. It's a lost soul. Well, this world is a lost soul. It has no soul. It's lost. This planet still spins around the sun, but it's lost. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. All I know is that tomorrow's going to be worse than today. It's the only constant we have. Every day that goes by, it only gets worse. Because in this AC world, it can never get better. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here. This is the facts. This is the integrated honesty that we have to live with. Today was the best day we have left. Because tomorrow's only going to get worse. and the next day and the next day. You can count on it because it will never get better. Not with all the lying and cheating and dishonesty and everything else that's out there. It can't get better. But every day in SCFU, who knows what we're going to learn today? Wow, man, they're going to have TV stations on that's just going to be about new inventions and new services. And like you won't be able to keep up with it all. Imagine that. That would be the news of the day. Instead of, another 42 people died today of the flu, another 180 are going to be probably dead by tomorrow. That's really happy stuff, isn't it? So let's make the jump, and right now I'm going to jump over to Juanita. Hey, Juanita.
Hey, Charlie.
How's that for a crossover?
Wow. Yeah, that was a crossover. That was a good jump. Yes, I have to share with everyone that when I first got this particular literature, I actually had to put it up for a while. I looked at the book every day and would not read it. That was what jump I was in. And I have to share that because I had the fear, because I was not knowledgeable to understand it, and it overwhelmed me. So I had to make the effort to break it down like Charlie did at the beginning, which was, I thought, very, very excellent. The way you broke it down to that quantum jump. And I know it's something that you can read it, you can study it, but it happens within you down to the atom. And when you think about it, that we're just energy, as I keep going through this, because I have notes everywhere, but I keep going through this like that Planck's jump that I talking to you about earlier in the week, Charlie. I finally said, hell with it. I got to look deep inside myself and say, listen, the quantum jump is about your mindset. It's about your cells coming and energizing yourself and saying, I don't belong in this third dimensional world. I belong in a higher dimension. And that's how I came to look at this and start studying it. And this is a study, like Charlie has mentioned, that we have to keep plugging in. And since we're at home, and since we have this wealthy literature in front of us, I think it's time that we all took that effort, because we're really needed out there to have that 12 Visions world come into fruition. Because, like you said, Charlie, it's not going to get any better, no matter what way you slice that cake or bread, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to get any better till we get better. We have to be the strength that the world needs to see. And how are we going to do that? We're going to have to know how to make that jump. And I just went clear down to the essence of it and said to myself, when I opened the book finally and started studying it, I said, wow, it comes down to the nitty-gritty, is what Dr. Wallace was always about. He was about discipline, thought, and control. But to go where he was going, he was a physicist. So he compared everything, even gave us reference to other physicists like Einstein. And we know that like you said, Charlie, the faster than the speed of light, we haven't gone faster than the speed of light, but with the quantum jump, we will go faster than the speed of light. And all it is eliminating all of the removing all those negatives, and it will happen. I really, I don't know what to say to you, Charlie, when you say you think I've grown a lot in the last year. Only you can tell, I guess. I better start celebrating that. I'm just blown away by Dr. Wallace, how he broke everything down, and studying the pictures, I thought, well, if we can make that Planck's energy jump, then there's no end. We just go on forever. And to me, I saw the biological immortality happening. I saw that, in my visions, I saw that since we're at home, I've seen the garage entrepreneurs happening because we're just a bunch of geniuses here. I know we are. And even today, when I had a rough day out there, I've had all my IDs stolen, my car broke into, and everything is closed down. So I have to focus now that I have to move forward and ignore that the anti-civilization, that they can do this kind of stuff out there and get away with it. I am just like going, I live by the prime law, and I know that we can overcome all of this. And right now it seems like the hardest because we go to the doctor, like Charlie says, and my doctor, I went the other day, and she was 6 feet across the room with her gloves on, and I'm like going, you had me come in here for a mild treatment, so who is she jeopardizing, me or her? But I have a mindset, and that is what I think the quantum jump is about. I have the mindset that I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm going to be a cause over it, and I'm going to keep myself in a higher dimension, the fourth, fifth, what have you, to stay out of that dimension and solve my problem there. And that's how I'm going to overcome it. And I'm sharing this with you, why it took me a year after I had this part of the book and another book, it took me a year to open it and read it because I was in fear of it, because I didn't understand the science. Like Charlie, I would never say I was going to teach physics. All I know is I can do it in the simplest form and say we have 50 trillion cells that are colliding with each other, and we have to find our essences, what gives us the passion. Because when we were brought up the part about people that have material things, they have money, but they're still bored, they have no recourse, they aren't stimulated by things that should stimulate them. Neothink is very powerful because we have things that can really stimulate us, because we are focusing on our essences and focusing on our health. And that's what I wanted to share right now, Charlie. I'll hand it back to you.
Was that all? No. Everything you said made sense, and you put it very simply, because both of us going to put it simply, because we're not physicists. We don't know this. I never took a course like this. So, but we're all capable of understanding it, and that's the difference. Think will push you. Let it push you. If you jump into this, you'll never regret it. Because like when he says, why do we care what other people think in this AC world? What do we care what other people say or think about what we learn and how we live and who we are? Where are they going? They're so trapped. They don't even know that they're trapped. Most of them don't realize that they're an individual. Most of them don't realize that they have choices if they wanted them. But that's beyond being a slave. I can't picture how they go through life. When you go through life and don't even have hope, not knowing that this could be so much better, not knowing that this could be unbelievably better, and they just go through the motions. What a sad way to live your life. We were all blessed because we thought a little more independent. We had something in our minds that said there's something better out there, and we start to search for it. Because when I talk to people on the phone every day, well, how did you find me? No, I said, do you feel that you're a searcher or a seeker? Well, yeah. I said, well, that's how they found you. We are searchers, and seekers, so why aren't we searching and seeking? So we have a little bit of pages here that's a little tough to understand at first. So you can do some research. What else are you going to do in these days when you can't go anywhere? But this is a great, you can take I know one person here, and she's on the call tonight, who is taking time now to really read these books more, and she bought some other books, and she's going to read those that are excellent books. This is the time to really catch up on some learning here, is when there's nothing else to do. Unless you want to sit there and be like a drone and just watch these stupid newscasters and then hear something totally different every day. It still doesn't make any sense. So let's do this. Take advantage of this. Start planning on taking the jump. I can't make it for you. I can tell you how to get there, but you got to do the work. But isn't that what you came here for? I can't believe how easily we just give up on ourselves. Oh, I don't know this, so I guess I'm dumb. So I'm never going to really move on this. That's how we were brought up. That's what they taught us, that we weren't worth any of this. We are all worth it. You owe it to yourself to have the best possible life that you can have. And no one can take that away. Nobody has the right to do that. I don't give a crap who they are. No one has the right to tell you how to live. Why? Because he paid off people to vote for him? That gives him the right? Yeah, right. So it's up to you. It's always up to you. Like people ask me on the phone, well, how many books I got to buy here? And they bought like 2 so far. I said, well, it's up to 17, 18 books. Oh, that many? I said, you don't have to buy them. I said, it's up to you. You buy as many books as you want or don't want. It's totally up to you. Everything here is up to you. I said, because you're going to learn how to be a self-leader. So that's going to tell you how many books that you should buy. But it's up to you. It's the same thing here. But if we all can make this jump, what a wonderful world it would be. It sure would be what happened today and what's going to happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So everybody, we will stay on afterward. There is another call coming up, so if you want to go to that one, that's fine. If you want to hang up on, that's fine too. We'll see you next week, and thank you. But anybody else who wants to hang around, me and Juanita will take like a 2 or 3 minute break, and then we will be back and take any questions. If you have any questions or comments about what was talked about tonight, then just hit *6, and we will get you up. Otherwise, thanks for being here, Juanita. Thank you. Good job. And
thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, and let's open up the lines, and we'll say good night.
Okay.
Unmuted. Q&A session is over.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night, Juanita.
Good night, everybody.